Hello, everybody, and welcome to the afternoon tune. I'm your host, Josh. With me is my co-host today,
Hey, how you doing? This is Dusk.
and we got a nice show for you people today. Going to be doing some few movie reviews there. No real news there to discuss, unless I don't know. Dusk, are you a big Freaky Friday fan?
Not 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 particularly.
Really? Because you look like the type, man. I think you look like the type of guy that'd be the big Freaky Friday fan.
Nah.
But there's Freakier Friday, so a trailer for that dropped.
Oh Lord.
There's that, and I think that was the only big movie trailer that dropped there that's been dropped in the past week or so. So there's that. But yeah,
Hmm.
so no real news there. So probably just do the reviews, head out, and then go ahead raid somebody. Get some good people we can raid after this stream. Got Mini Portables on playing at WWE 2K25. I think that just got released. Rated M for Immaturity. Big supporters of the channel. They're playing at Bayonetta.
Yeah.
Kara Flies on playing League of Legends. I got Movie Night Extravaganza on. I think they're doing a wrap up. They're doing an after show. They just finished their review of 12 Angry Men. Classic film. I've never seen
Yeah,
12
yeah. Super great. Great
uh,
classic movie. Even the remake did a good job, but you can't beat the classic.
yeah, so I have actually never seen the film. Let me tell them
Oh,
that
you
right
haven't?
now. No.
Yeah, you're in for a treat. It's one of the best bottleneck movies ever made.
Yeah. So
It started off as a play before it being made into a movie, and it got better as being a movie.
He hasn't seen any.
yeah, they're roasting me right now for not seeing 12 Angry Men.
They rightfully so. They should be. They should be.
Yeah. So yeah. So, so yeah, it's on the list. I'll add it. I have a letterbox list. There are movies I have not seen before. I have not seen Wizard of Oz. That's
Oh
on.
wow,
Let's see what else is on this list
that's
here.
an American classic.
Yeah. I haven't seen what's that movie called? Miracle on
34th Street?
Yeah, I haven't seen
You've
that.
never seen? Oh my! That plays every Christmas.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Let me add that to the list too. Miracle on 34th Street. Let me add that to the list right now.
You can avoid the remake that they did in the 90s.
Okay, I didn't know it got remade, but probably every movie gets remade eventually.
Yeah, technically the most famous one was remade again, or it was the remake from like a 1920, but that's the one everyone talks about. Is the one from the
So this is the list I have right here.
oh my god. Okay, all right, like Citizen Kane. That's no. Everything else. Oh, Chinatown's great. Recommend that. Prince of Egypt, fantastic. Fallen Angels, good. Monsters Inc.
Well, actually, I watched.
Didi was from. Oh, I thought you
Yeah.
already seen Didi.
Yeah, so I must be a mistake.
That's fine.
Okay.
Cure, The Birds, that's fantastic. Fantastic Planet, that's a heck of a trippy animated movie. Coco, another round. Queen of the Damned is interesting. I wouldn't necessarily say it's great.
I want to do a review for this movie since it's Women's Month. I'll do a review for Revenge.
Revenge.
I'll do that. Have you seen it?
No, I have not seen Revenge.
Yeah, it's from the director who did The Substance, so I want to check it out.
Oh, okay.
But
New Jack City, it's a classic. Hollywood Shuffle. Gremlin, you ever seen Gremlins?
Nah, never seen it.
Okay. Nightcrawler is good. That really great movie. Goonies is a classic.
Yeah, that's the list right here.
Yeah.
So, hey, I'll work my way through the list eventually.
That's the way you got to do it.
Revenge is underrated. Hey, how's it going there,
Oh,
Eptaxi
yeah,
Joshua? Eptaxi Joshua, great content creator, great YouTuber there, great guy overall. Always reviewing a bunch of stuff, watching a bunch of stuff there. So very awesome there. Shout out to him.
Absolutely.
So, what are we reviewing today? We got some movies. We're going to be reviewing Mickey 17, which is the new Bong Joon-ho film. And there's some Bong Joon-ho films I would love to check out. I haven't seen all his filmography. Mickey 17 is his 8th film. I hear his movie like what's it called? Memories is it called? Or Murder Memories or
yeah, that's the one he did a few before this.
Yeah, he did that one. Also, his movie called Mother is really great too.
Mother solid.
So that's another. Yeah, that's one of his
The
movies
best
I want.
one he probably did, my personal favorite, is The Host.
The Host. I've heard great things about
Yeah, The
that.
Host is fantastic.
The Host is great there. And yeah, so Bong Joon-ho, eighth film, Mickey 17, starring Rob Pattinson. Going to do a review for that. Going to do a review for Opus, which is the movie starring John Malkovich and Iowa Debris. And going to do a movie Novocaine. Going to do for a review for that. Hey, what's going on, man? He said the mother was so creepy. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a horror film, right? Is it a horror film or is it like a thriller
So,
or
along with a lot of his movies, they have a mix of horror, which with some dark comedic sensibilities. But that one in particular is more horror than not.
okay? Interesting. Okay. What do you think is? Have you seen all his films?
I've seen quite a few at this point.
Okay. What do you think is his best one?
Ah, my personal favorite is still The Host. I think that's probably the best combination of his stuff. The movie you were thinking of, by the way, was Memories of Murder.
Okay. Yeah.
That was 2003. That was just before. That was like 3 years before The Host. My personal favorite is still The Host. I think it's one of his best. He also did Snowpiercer.
Yeah. Oh, you. Yeah.
I know, I know. I don't know. I just blanked out on that one. Jesus.
Yeah. I've seen that one. I've seen Parasite. I've seen and then Mickey 17. So, Oakjaw I haven't seen. It's on Netflix, but I always start it, but I never finish it. I don't know.
Mhm.
Not because I don't like it. It's just I don't know. Something else comes up. I'm like, oh
That's
shit, I
fine.
gotta watch this. But I know Oakjaw's on there.
All of his movies post The Host have some sort of message to it, either about environmentalism or various isms to them.
Mm.
Classism, all sorts. Every single one has had it, and including Mickey 17, which we'll get to.
Mother very much so reminded me of Paranoia and Rosemary's Baby. Stuff like that creeps me out.
Hmm.
Okay, I've seen Rosemary Baby. Okay, I've seen that. Yeah. But I don't know if it's good to go back and watch Rosemary's Baby. I mean, given Roman Polanski and
Well, yeah.
given that. But yeah, I have seen that. So got that. Like I said, Opus and Novocaine, which is a movie starring Jack Quaid
Mhm.
for Mid Thunder there. Action, romantic, comedy type film there. So those are reviews for the day. I'm gonna be back Saturday. I'm gonna be doing a review for Invincible that just wrapped up.
Mhm.
So have you watched Invincible?
Nah,
Okay. This season was pretty good. Are you just not a fan of Invincible?
I'm
Or
just not the biggest fan.
okay, but you watched the first season, just was like, it's not for me.
Yeah, pretty much. I finished the first season. I was like, that's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, do a review for season 3. Robert Kirkman, who's the creator of Invincible, he wrote the comic and now it's adapted into a TV show, anime TV show on Amazon Prime. He says that the goal is to make a season every year. Like at least come out with a season every year.
Mm,
Invincibles had trouble with that. They had a kind of a problem,
yeah,
and there was the last season that got split, even though it was only 8 episodes, and it was like 4 that came out, and then it
yeah, that
part of
was
the year,
really
and
not great move.
yeah. But they said the goal is at least to release a season every year. So
That's a
if you do,
heck of a lot of crunch.
yeah, and they do each season is 8 episodes, so maybe
Yeah,
it's doable, maybe
it's
not.
doable, but you got to get your ducks in a row, and you never know. Like voice actors can get sick. There can be other problems or issues. It's going to be hard to set a schedule for that, but it's worth trying, I suppose.
Yeah. Eptastic Joshua said, I'm doing well. Thinking about getting ready to do a live stream, talking about some stuff probably. Invincible season 3 was great. So he likes it. Okay. He likes Invincible season 3. We just did a review for another animation. We did Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. It was surprising. I liked it quite a bit. I actually me and Nick did a review for that. Liked it quite a bit there. Sunday, I got a review there. Chris Ayers is going to be joining me. We're going to be doing The Gorge. We're going to be doing My Dead Friend Zoe, and we're going to be doing Another Simple Favor. That's the sequel to A Simple Favor, which was the movie with Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick. So there, and I like Simple. That I think Paul Feig directed A Simple Favor. I want to say, didn't he? I want to say, but yeah, that's our reviews for Sunday. Monday, I have Sage from Rated Immaturity coming on. And he's going to be helping. He's going to be doing some video game reviews. He's got a lot of video game reviews to be doing, like Split Fiction. Have you played Split Fiction? That's the new big game out right now.
No, but it does look interesting.
Yeah. So the cool thing about that game, if you buy it, you don't another person doesn't have to buy it. They can just play along with you. So that's a
That
cool
is a
thing.
really good. That's really great. actually.
Yeah. So
Board
it
games
helps.
really need to do that. They're going to do co-op.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty like, hey, it encourages people to play the game together. So you and a
Yeah.
friend can split it. I think the price of the game is $40.
Yeah, it's actually pretty reasonable for what you're going to get for it.
Yeah. So you and your friend can go in for $20, hit it, and yeah, have a shared experience. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Uh, this weekend I'm seeing some movies if I can. I'll try to go to the theater. I know this week, I don't know, every movie decided to release this
Yeah,
week.
jeez.
I don't know what it was, but you had Opus, you had
Black
Black
Bag.
Bag, you had Novocaine, and that Looney Tunes movie.
Yeah, I thought we were going to bring that up maybe.
I'm gonna see that Sunday. I'm gonna see it Sunday.
Yeah, it's
But you
like
looking
I think
forward to
it's
it?
like the day I didn't even know it was happening. I just saw along the list of, hey, it's all coming out for the box office, and I just saw the day the Earth blew up, a Looney Tunes movie. I'm like, wait a minute, a Looney Tunes movie?
Yeah. So I wanna check it out. I wanna
Yeah,
see
I'll
it.
check that out. I'll check. The last Looney Tunes movie that came out was Back in Action, if I recall, with Brendan Fraser.
Really? Was that the last
I
one?
think it's that long ago because they were gonna have the Coyote movie, the CGI Coyote movie that they basically took as a
Scrap.
tax write-off. It's complete, like, it exists in complete form, they just got a tax write-off, so therefore it'll never come out now unless someone wants to buy the rights to it.
Yeah, it's the day the Earth blew up. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, so it's out right now. People want to check it out. I wonder how it's gonna do in the box office. I wonder.
I mean, so far, it's got apparently on a budget of 15,000,000, which is actually not too bad for an animated movie. It has 1.9 million so far.
Mm, okay, it's
Came out only
probably
a few days ago. That's actually not too bad traction
yeah.
because it's like
Oh
there's literally no marketing for that
yeah,
movie.
yeah. So I don't know why they're not marketing. Do
Because
people not
originally,
love?
apparently, it was supposed to come out in 2021,
Oh,
all the way back at HBO Max. It's supposed to come out. I'm reading the Wikipedia for it. Their Acme Night block on Cartoon Network, but they ended up, I guess, delaying it, and then they had it in the Animation Film Festival in 2024 limited, and now they just released it December 13th, and then
hmm,
they're expanding it now for March 14th.
gotcha. Okay.
Got to recoup some of it, I guess.
I mean, it's getting good reviews. I mean, look at
Yeah.
this. It's critics, they're liking it, 88%.
I want the Looney Tunes to get back in action, as it were.
You know, fans seem to like it. Okay, it's doing
Yeah,
pretty well
yeah.
there. Okay, so looks like
Maybe
people
then
like
they'd be like, release the Coyote movie, and it's like that's never happening. It's a tax write-off. Can I
yeah.
can I buy the Blu-ray of it? You don't have to release it in there. Uh, we'll have to check with our lawyers on that.
Yeah.
Somebody
But
might leak it. That's probably the only way. Just like
oh
that
yeah,
Batgirl movie.
like the bad girl. Well, maybe Ryan Reynolds. Maybe he got to sneak into the Warner Brothers lot like he did with Deadpool, leak the footage.
Just do that, I guess.
Yeah. But what's been going on with you, man? How you been?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
Yeah. Uh, mm, busy time reviewing these movies, seeing these movies.
Mm.
Did you see Novocaine in IMAX?
I didn't see it in IMAX. I just saw it in regular screening.
Oh, wow. Saw it just in regular screening. Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Regular
saw
old
it.
screening.
Shame you didn't get to feel those hits, those blows in IMAX, man. That enhances the experience there.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
sure it enhanced the feeling of seeing a 10-foot Jack Quaid face staring at me as he's screaming.
uh, yeah, and he's I don't know how exactly how tall he is, but he's a pretty tall guy. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, so he looks kind of even bigger on IMAX. There, so he's a pretty tall guy. All right, let's get into these reviews. Don't want to keep you up too late. Did you have a preference? What you want to start with first?
Nah, I have really no preference.
Okay. Let's start with Opus. I'll do a review for Opus, then I'll do Mickey 17, and let's do Novocaine to wrap it up. How about that?
Okay, that's fine.
Let me pull up my notes for this Opus, and we can go ahead and get started on that. All right. Very, very nice. And you saw this movie here. All right. Let me pull up my notes for you. Very good. Okay. All right. So our first review of the day is going to be for a film called Opus. Opus is starring Io Adebri there. Io Adebri, who's been really the new kind of it girl, I think, in Hollywood there. I think she's been kind of blowing up.
Mm.
I've loved her a lot. I loved her in things like Bottoms. I loved her. She's also does a lot of voice work there. in like 2024, she was everywhere. Like every movie seemed like in 2024 she was in. She was the voice of April O'Neil in the TMNT movie. She won our
Yeah.
very coveted Afternoon Tune MVP award of that year. I'm still waiting on her to accept that award. You know what I mean? Still waiting
When
for
she's
her.
heard of us, she might show up.
Yeah, show up there to accept that coveted award. But yeah, it's starring Io Debris and John Malkovich here. And what is this movie about? So you have Io Debris, who plays a young journalist there coming up, and then there's a story that breaks of this artist, this huge pop star played by John Malkovich, called Alfred Moretti there, who sounds like a Batman villain. And he's having an album release party. But the big significance of this is that Alfred Moretti is one of the largest pop stars in this world. Like, think about the fame of Michael Jackson, Prince, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Elton John, mash it all together, multiply it times two, and that's the level of popularity you get with this guy. And the thing that also was special about him releasing this album is that he hasn't released an album in 30 years. In multiple decades, he hasn't released anything. So people are heavily anticipating what this new album is going to sound like. And so he invites these select group of people to come over to his compound here, you see, and get to experience this album. But then once these journalists get to this compound, they realize that, okay, something weird is going on. These people, they're all dressed in the same outfits. They're following these people wherever they go. Something is strange is going on here, and it's up to kind of Io Debris like, yeah, my senses are tingling here. Like this is fucking weird, and you get to kind of see throughout the movie what this is all about and what these people are kind of up to at this compound. Yeah. So, Dusk, what are your thoughts on Opus?
I think this is belonging to a new genre that's just been kind of created within the last couple of years. It's the same genre that The Menu, Get Out, Ready or Not, Blink Twice, Midsummer. It's this genre of basically an innocent person gets invited to a place, and that person is revered and special, and it's revealed that some sort of twisted ritual or obsession happens against the main protagonist, and weird things ensue. And then there's either a dramatic twist at the ending or some sort of playoff screen situation, or ends with everybody dying in some kind of tragic manner. It's very much this kind of formula that I'm kind of getting a little tired of with A24. And this is a directational debut with I believe his name is
Mark Anthony Green.
Yeah. What you have here is a pretty basic premise. There, a couple of guests are invited to a secluded place by a rich, affluent individual who immediately you're like, yeah, you're a cult leader. Just immediately you're a cult leader. But everyone else is like, well, I got invited to this prestigious area. I don't care if he is a cult leader. As long as I get my story or I get my
Interview.
claim to fame, I really don't care. And therein lies the rest of the movie. And unfortunately, it kind of falls into tropes after that. Really heavy tropes. Not a lot happens in this movie. And when things do happen, a lot of characters make a lot of stupid decisions, which is par for the course in a lot of horror movies, unfortunately. But it really does leave it just down to between both John Malkovich and Io Debris' performances, because really at a certain point, it's really just those two. They have to bounce off of each other or work with it. And I'll give John Malkovich this. He is hamming it up. He is having a lot of fun with this role. I just wish that was more for him than what ends up being there for him. Because really, at the end of the day, there's just not much to this movie, unfortunately. Until at the very end when they try to do a twist for it. And even then I just went, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And this movie's getting beat up there. And I was looking forward to seeing this movie.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to see because I
It
like
has a good trailer.
Good trailer. I like Io Debris. Like I said, I love her in a lot of stuff she's in. So I was eager to see her, and especially, mostly she does comedy type stuff there.
Yeah.
People know her from The Bear. That's a big thing she's on, which The Bear is kind of mostly like a dramedy, mostly.
Yeah.
And she's coming out more. And okay, so this kind of seeing the trailer is like, okay, it looks like a thriller. type thing. It's A24. That studio has a very, kind of big reputation, prestigious reputation of coming out with a lot of great movies, everything like that. And like you said, after seeing the movie, I was left disappointed in kind of what I got. And like you said, this kind of genre of film where people get invited to a place and then some weird shit is kind of happening or going on. Like you brought up the example of, like this is going to draw comparisons which people already are making to something like The Menu, which The Menu came out. I think it came out 2024, right?
I
Or no,
believe
2023 maybe.
203, right?
Yeah, 2023. This movie came out and it brought, yeah, a lot of kind of comparisons to something like that, with Anna Taylor-Joy, and it had Ralph Fiennes in it, and, like, yeah, this was, and this movie also, like, The Menu and this, they're both trying to say the same thing. They're trying to, not the same thing, but they're both trying to give, like, a message, a social commentary type thing here. What Opus is trying to do with it, even though the message is not very subtle, and what kind of attempt of, stan culture, fame, celebrity obsession, the idea of how people are just willing to overlook the bad qualities in a person because they are talented. It doesn't really matter. It's just like, well, they wrote a good saying. Obviously, you see that you can draw numerous comparisons to real life figures, Kanye West or Elon Musk or Trump or Beyonce or whoever you want to say, any major celebrity there. People
Just
have these,
celebrityism as a whole.
yeah, celebrityism as a whole there, and that kind of going on. Then you have these people that come to the place. The only real interesting one is Io Debris out of all the group of people. The other ones,
Yeah, there's nothing to them.
yeah, there's really nothing to their characters, nothing to their personalities.
And you could have said something if there was something to their character, but there's nothing.
uh the film doesn't really focus on, like, you have Juliette Lewis in this movie, and each figure that he invites to his compound to do this whole album release party is, they're supposed to be each figure in like media. Like you have Juliette Lewis who's like the TV host. You have one person who's a paparazzi. You got another person who's a influencer, social media person. You got another person who's a columnist, a journalist there, and each person is supposed to represent like a figure in media, but you don't really get a sense of their characters or personality or anything, so they kind of fade to the background. And this movie's not very long; it's only an hour and 40 minutes. But The Menu was around the same time, and it feels like they did much more with that block of time and
Oh yeah.
established characters more than what you saw in
It
something
felt
like
way
that.
shorter, it felt way leaner, and it made its point, and everyone there had a point to be there. He specifically hand chose those people to be there, and you understood why he was doing what he was doing.
Mm,
And he made a point with every single person on why I specifically chose you.
mm, yeah. Yeah, and you saw that, like, the menu, like, it has that title because it's each course of the meal that they're eating has a point of the story. Like, each
Right.
course of the meal is telling a story that they're doing. Here, it would've been nice, the fact that John Malkovich's character is a pop star and he's releasing an album, that maybe each song on the album represented something, in, like, why he's doing the things that
Yeah.
he's doing,
It's
and
like
have.
feeding the album as a way, and they don't realize that it's about an aspect of the media and
Mm.
about that. And it's a reflection on that, almost kind of in a weird, like a sermon in a way, kind of looking down on them, but playing it off as a album so that they don't really notice and they're just going to eat it up, even if he's insulting them to their face.
Yeah, that would have been an interesting kind of point, that if you, like you said, if they did something like that in it, but they never really get too much into that, and there's this ending that kinda is really lackluster, I
Oh
think,
yeah.
when it kinda wraps up and gets to the conclusion of things, it just feels really super lackluster. The actual kind of, you know, place here, like you said, it's kinda like a weaker version of something like Midsommar or something like that. What's the other movie you named, other than The Menu? Get Out,
Oh yeah.
like,
Get Out,
kinda like one of those type, it's like a very much weaker version of that.
Ready or Not,
Ready or
Blink
Not,
Twice, Midsummer.
yeah. And Blink Twice was that movie with Zoe Kravitz, she directed
Yeah.
that movie,
Yeah, that
which
one sucked, but it's the same premise.
it's the same kinda thing there, but I think they had a better ending though than this. I think they had a much better ending than this one
Mm.
though. Um But yeah, I mean, there's a lot that it could have done there with that kind of concept, and then her being like, she gets an invite to this place, but it really doesn't stress the point of like, why is this young girl, this young kind of up and coming journalist,
Yeah, why
getting an
her?
invite amongst all these other people that you could have also invited to this,
Yeah, why specifically her?
And they at the end they do kind of give a reason why all those other people were selected. It's for very petty, kind of vain kind of reasons. Again, I think it could have been elaborated on more within the movie of, why he really kind of
Yeah.
chose these people and
If they
why.
wanted, they could have gone the path of the almost a reverse golden ticket from Willy Wonka,
Mm,
where everyone else gets a ticket, and that's the point, and then he just throws in a random good one just to see how they'll react and
mm.
see and kind of judging them on play it by ear almost.
Yeah. Yeah. Could have done something like that of like, well, I guess, again, I draw a comparison, get to the meaning because that was the whole thing with Anna Taylor Joy was
Yeah.
like, you get me, you understand, what it's like, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna let you go and I'm gonna let you and let all these people, turn to fucking s'mores
Yes.
while I let you go. But yeah, and there's kind of something like that a little bit, but it's just like again, it's not really fleshed out very well in this. And like I said, this is the first time this is directorial debut for Mark Anthony Green. um, he could maybe build on something and build from this
Hmm.
and maybe do something else from it. He did the only thing other thing he did a short called Trapeze USA. I have not heard of that. It's a short film though. Trapeze. So maybe. But yeah, do you think there's any future for this director? Maybe you see some things like okay, maybe.
Um, there's certain shots that I thought were fine. Overall, the setting was fine. Like the biggest problem with this movie is that it just feels like something we've already seen done better.
Mm,
And I think that's going to be the biggest hurdle for him is making a mark for himself. I don't know if it's the scripts problem or it's his directing problem, but I think there's definitely potential for future. This wasn't like a travesty or anything. This wasn't terrible, but it's just not good either.
yeah. And then when he reveals the plan, it's like, I feel like you could have done this a much easier way, given how famous
Oh
you are.
yeah.
Because like, the movie opens up, like, it establishes like, when he announces he's about to do a new album, like, you see people from all demographics, young, old, people, all different nationalities and this ethnicities, races, all singing his music. So it's like, this guy, they established he's uber mega famous. And it's like, I feel
Yeah.
like you didn't have to go through all this to do the type of message that you wanted to do. Like, you
Yeah.
coulda just did, like, in a normal way and been fine, but I was like, "Okay, I don't think you needed to do all this." Um, yeah, I mean, I was disappointed by it, seeing it. I think it's got some decent things in it. I mean, if you're gonna see this for any reason, it's for Io Debris and for John Malkovich. Um it's got some okay kind of funny moments in here. It's about it again, it seems like it it's trying to be like a black comedy in that sense there with it. And sometimes it kind of can work on that. But when of course, with a setting like this, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. And is that other shoe drop, is it going to be interesting? And is the build up to it going to be good? And I didn't think this was. And I don't think it really was. So I gotta give it I'm gonna give it like a low stream it. What about for you?
I'll go with a skip it, honestly.
Damn.
There's really no everything you've seen, you've already seen in better movies. There's really nothing here that aside from like a solid performance from John Malkovich, but I mean he always gives a solid performance. There's just nothing really here, honestly. It wasn't bad, wasn't terrible, anything like that. The movie's shot competently, pretty competently. And I do think with a little bit more lessons learned, I think this director can show a good movie. They do have that chance to do so. There was genuine technique here, and they were using it for enough. It just needs a little bit more personality than it had here. A little bit
Mhm.
more uniqueness here, or at least a tighter script to really show what you were going for. Uh, Problem is in the performances. It's not even the camera work. It's just it just feels like something we've already seen, but it's a watered down version of it, and it doesn't feel as tightly written. So yeah, with that, I'm gonna have to just give it a skip it. I didn't hate it. It's not a bad movie, but there's just you've seen better. There are better stuff out there.
Mm. Did you like the music?
I thought it was fine.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, some of the music that he was like playing in the movie, it was like, maybe I actually
Yeah,
want to hear this
okay, that's
album.
all right. But
Yeah.
I mean, you really got to sell to me this guy, especially a musician. Music doesn't play that big of a part in this.
Yeah. It really doesn't. Yeah.
Like, why make him a famous musician? Why not just make him a guru or some kind of weird guru who's coming out? He's been isolated for 30 years, and then it's like, oh, I'll show off for 30, whatever. You could have had this. He could have been any other kind of weird artist, but with music, I wanted there to be a tragedy in his existence. What Ray Fiennes did is such a great job of playing this chef that had just been completely destroyed by the industry that he was in. But you got little glimpses of the man just really wanted to just make the best stuff. He just wanted to make really good food. That was his passion, and it just got drilled out of him.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see that with this kind of character. I think John Malkovich could have really shown a character who's just super passionate about music, and there would be glimpses where their genius is there, but everything else, the environment around him, had just killed his enthusiasm for it.
Mm.
And instead of like joy and passion that he felt for music, it became spite and anger, and that formed his new music, his new album.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you're coming up with a better
Yeah,
movie
I know.
than
I think I am coming with a way better movie than they did. So that's why I gotta say it's a skip it.
Yeah. The music was good, and the music here is written by the original movie. Music in the film is written by Neil Rogers and The Dream. I think it's pretty solid here.
Yeah,
They're pretty famous people in the music industry.
yeah. I don't have any problems with it.
Yeah. So, like you said, a movie being about a major pop star, you would think, that music would play a
Yeah,
big
you
part
gotta
in
get
that.
top tier guys. You gotta get earworms.
Yeah. And, I mean, there are cases where that because I think isn't it the case where Jared Leto, is supposedly rumored he's got his own cult or something like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's real life
Oh
precedents
yeah, Ezra
for it.
Miller, Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always got weird posses.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Dust gives us a skip it. I give it a low streaming for Opus. There. All right. Let's move on. All right. Let's do this, Mickey 17. All right. That's Jared Leto's favorite number right there, 17.
Oh Lord,
That's his favorite number. All right.
I'm sure it is.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. So, our next review of the day is going to be for the film Mickey 17. That's not Mickey 17. What the fuck? Hold on. Jeez, why won't it? Oh, there we go. Our next review of the day is going to be for the film Mickey 17. Mickey 17 is the eighth film directed by Bong Joon-ho. Bong Joon-ho, probably know his filmography. He directed Parasite, which was the big winner several years ago, this past Oscar season, several years ago. Huge winner, Best Picture, considered one of the greatest movies of the 21st century there. He's also done amazing films like Host there, Memories of Murder, Mother as well there, Snowpiercer, Oakjaw. Great filmography, Bong Joon-ho. And this has been one of my most anticipated movies. It was supposed to come out last year. Then it was supposed to come out, I think, January of this year. Then they pushed it back again. So this movie's been delayed a couple of different times. So I was kind of having me worried. I was like, oh shit, is this not going to be that good of a movie? They've delayed it and delayed it. But also, I remember it's Warner Brothers, and they kind of suck, so they don't really know what to do a lot of movies. So you also have to give that a lot of kind of a grain of salt here as well, that they don't sometimes know what to do with a lot of movies. But yeah, what's happening here in this Mickey 17 movie here? Well, you have Robert Pattinson here, who is what they call in this futuristic society a expendable. What is a expendable? Well, an expendable is a person here who basically gets copied there every single time he gets copied, dies, gets copied there, and a new body basically spits out. The process repeats over and over again. He's basically a basically a living crash test dummy. Basically, his only purpose is just to be experimented on, to test viruses, to test the harsh conditions of this new planet that they're going on. And that's kind of basically it. He is part of this expedition there, which is led by this figure named who's played by Mark Ruffalo in this. Who I think what was his character's name again? I think his character was named it's Kenneth
Kenneth
Marshall.
Marshall.
Him and his veneers, and then you have his wife Toni Collette here,
Yeah, Flo Marshall. Yeah.
who are leading this expedition to this other planet to colonize it there. And yeah, that's kind of what his responsibility on there is, kind of to test out all these kind of things there that's on this ship, to make sure it's safe for others to consume and others to kind of be a part of, viruses to create cures and everything like that. Yeah, so that's kind of the basic setup here you have of this kind of Mickey 17 film here. Dusk, what are your thoughts on it?
The premise of this movie is very fascinating. I actually do quite like the premise of a man who's expendable and uploads his consciousness to make versions of him. Every time a version of him dies, he is then printed out, and all his memories are just kind of dumped back into his head. And each version of himself kind of either degrades or has a varying degree of personality, because the process isn't 100% guaranteed, but for the most part, it gets the core aspect of his personality. The philosophy behind that is interesting. It's actually quite fascinating. It's a damn shame that that's not what this movie is about. And after the beginning, we just kind of drop all that and it just becomes a straight off black comedy. And Mickey 17 has almost nothing to do with this movie.
Mm, okay. And this is based on a book, by the way. This is based on a
Yes.
novel.
For which I've read, or at least I've read about that. Apparently, the novel is much better. It does actually focus a lot more on the struggles of that idea of just kind of making an expendable person. And it has its own sequel book, too.
Yeah.
There's also 10 less deaths in the novel, where he's Mickey 7 in the books, and in this, he's Mickey 17.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned that point. And the book is written by Edward Ashton. Yeah, like you said, the book is called Mickey 17, and there is another sequel. Is a sequel book called Antimatter Blues. That sounds like a Cowboy Bebop movie there. But yeah, so he's got a sequel book there as well. I don't know if they're gonna do a sequel. I don't know. But we'll see. Yeah, so I quite like this movie. I like you said the concept of it, of that's really not the main focus here of it. It's just kind of more it kind of feels they use the more expendable thing for the gags more than the
Yeah,
actual philosophy and moral. They kind of get into it a little bit in the movie. There's like a little bit of
not really. They abandoned it very quickly. That's not what this movie's about.
the only time they get into it is explaining how the program came to be. A
Yeah,
little bit when
there's
they do like a
30 to 40
flashback.
minutes. Yeah, 30 to 40 minutes. 30 minutes of this, by the way, has no bearings on the rest of the movie.
Yeah, they do kind of a little bit of a flashback to show how the program, who
Mhm.
created it, who created the whole expendable process there, and then that the person who did create it, well, this person was a fucking psycho, and then they ended up doing it, and then it's just like, okay, it created this whole kind of law. It's like, okay, if you create another person and that other person kills somebody, then does that mean that you're guilty, or is that person guilty? Do you all share a sentence? Do you split it? Like, it kinda does that a little bit, but again, like me and Dusk were saying, it's not really the main focus. Really, the main focus of this movie is when they go to this planet and they meet these other creatures on this planet, and they're trying to, obviously trying to colonize this planet, colonize it, and it's like they're basically trying to like, "Oh, these they call them creepers, because of their appearance and the way they look. It's like, well, these are just monsters and savages and creatures and these ugly things. So let's just wipe them all away and let's just, plant our flag here. And so it's more like Princess Mononoke more than it is, kind of more of trying to be
Yeah.
something like that. So that I got a lot of comparisons from that with it. Hey, how's it going there,
Hey,
Hunter?
how you doing?
Hey, what's up? What were you kind of feeling? Did it remind you of anything?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This reminded me of a bunch of stuff. This reminded me of his other movie. This reminded me a lot of
Snowpiercer? I got a little
yeah, a lot
Snowpiercer.
of Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer, Princess Mona, Nausicaa Valley of the Wind, very much Valley of the Wind. Uh, Moon, a bit. bit of the movie Moon with Sam Rockwell, although
Yeah.
Moon's a far superior movie when it comes to this concept.
Yeah.
Honestly, this movie felt like they took the book and just went, I like the premise, I like the idea, but we're going to use none of it and just do my own thing. And we're going to have a Trump stand-in, and we're just going to, and this movie was supposed to come out a year ago. And you can definitely feel it with the way Mark Ruffalo is vibing with it. And there's even a line later that goes, "This is how you lost two elections." And I'm like, "Ooh, didn't go the way you wanted, did it?" But it very much is a kind of in your face drama. And it's honestly, this movie's more about Naomi Eki's character Nasha than it is about Mickey. Mickey does jack shit in this movie. Absolutely jack shit. He doesn't really do much. He doesn't save the day. He doesn't even try to learn anything. He's just along for the ride. He's just a moron along for the ride. And it just gets taken over. And it's more of a black comedy with some of the most ridiculous like the last act is a train wreck when it comes to trying to wrap up what's going on. It feels very rushed and very, well, we just got to wrap this up. We got to finish this up. Why does this character do this thing? Well, we just got to wrap it up.
Yeah. You mentioned the supporting cast here. You have
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo, who I mentioned. Mark Ruffalo, been very good in doing a lot of supporting roles lately. I loved him in Poor Things. I thought he was really great in that, and the comedic presence in that film. He shows up here. He's kind of like a mix of, I guess you would say like a Trump figure plus like
It's
a
Trump with an
Elon
even get jelliest, like television even.
televangelist.
Yeah, televangelist. He's very much a televangelist. I've got mush mouth today.
Televangelist there. Kind of like a mix of him and that Elon Musk is like that. That's a big thing because like I know Elon Musk talked about he wanted to go to Mars. Like he was supposed to have people live on Mars in like what, like 2020 or something like that, 2024 or some shit. He talked about that. That mission is way past it when he said it was going to be due, but it's kind of like a mix of that kind of going on. You get that kind of feeling. And then all his supporters are like diehard supporters. Like they go, "Oh my God, we love you, Mr. Marshall. Like we love you." And then they all wear red hats. So it's like, how can you not draw the comparison there? His wife, Toni Collette, she's fun. I mean, Toni Collette's always amazing in everything she's ever in. I think so. I mean, they're very good at playing evil. They're very good. Like you do really hate them through most of the movie. You mentioned Naomi Aki, who's in this. Who people might know Naomi Aki. She was Whitney Houston in that film there. I Want to Dance with Somebody. Speaking of, we just spoke about the movie Blink Twice. She was the lead character in that film, Blink Twice there, which was directed by Zoe Kravitz. Naomi, I think it's balanced. I think that Naomi Aki comes much more towards the end of the movie there, as far as being a really major character. But I still think I think Robert Pattinson as Mickey still has a good chunk of the movie, and he feels still like kind of one of the protagonists of it. What did you think about Robert Pattinson's choice with the voice there? And let me play it. I think it's in this trailer.
Yeah,
Let me see
go
if because he said he kind of based the voice of Mickey on like Steve Buscemi, I think a little bit there, like he was trying to do that. But let me see if it's in this trailer.
Nothing was working out on Earth. Nothing was working out, and I wanted to get the hell out of there.
You're applying to be an expendable?
You read through the paperwork.
Yeah. I should have read through it.
Yeah, so you kind of got a little bit of that taste.
Yeah,
of
it's
his
very
voice.
nasally.
Yeah, what'd you think about that? His acting choice there.
It's grating at first, but you do get used to it.
Yeah, and then he does like there's another Mickey 18, which comes
Which he
in.
does a very different version of a more kind of normal voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't bother you, so you say you pretty much got used to it. It didn't really bother you.
Look, I just gave up with this movie. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I just gave up and just said, "Do whatever you want, man. I just want to leave."
Damn, you didn't really like it that.
No, I didn't really like this movie.
Wow. That's kind of. I mean, I guess we're gonna come. I'd be interested to hear your rating. I think we're gonna be opposite ends of the spectrum there. But Hunter said, "Oh well, Snowpiercer is great and Moon is fucking amazing. So is this good?" Well, I guess if you ask Dust, he'll say, "Hell no, it's not."
I
But
didn't hate this movie. I just wanted to leave.
I think that means I think if you don't want to stay towards the end of the movie, I think that kind of means you probably hate it. I think that's a good sign that you hate it. If you say like somebody asks you after the movie, so how'd you feel about it? It's like, man, I want to fucking get out of there.
It wasn't like it's fire. I need to rush out of here and leave. But it was like so are we done yet?
Yeah. And I don't know. Did the crowd you see it? Because the crowd I saw with, they were laughing pretty hard at a lot of the jokes.
Oh yeah, there were some people that were chuckling through the movie, and there was some chuckle words. I'm not going to say that aren't things that work in this movie, but a lot of it is touch and go. There's a lot of this is pacing problems. A lot of this that has, especially the last act, and just it makes no sense. The beginning 30 minutes, really, you could have just brushed that down to 5 minutes. You really didn't need any of that 30 minutes lead ups. There's not much of a reason to keep it. And the rest of it is, I just wanted Mickey 17 to actually do something and not have to rely on all the side characters to do stuff. It's not an engaging viewing experience when the main character basically has no point in the story aside from the premise. That's not how you make a good story. And I know the director, he made some good stuff. I'm a big fan of a lot of his work. I do like it. I've been a big fan of his since I saw The Host around 2006, 2007, when I saw a DVD case and rented his movie out. And I've been a big fan of his. And he's always had this environmental message stuff in his movies. He's always had some kind of isms, whether this one is more about classism, it's also about environmentalism, it's about other issues. And science fiction is all about exploring those aspects. And I'm sure the novel also did so. But I guarantee the novel is goddamn better than this movie. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it was the script, but I don't know if it was the side characters and the performance. Mark Ruffalo is great in a lot of things he does. But in this role, he was very much hamming it up to the point where I'm like, okay, I get it, but why are you an idiot? Like, so much of an idiot. There's no way you're this stupid to make certain decisions. Even if you're a coward and you are portrayed as a coward, why do you make a final decision much later on that's just going to get yourself killed? It doesn't make any sense.
I'll be interested to hear what you, because I know we can't say it here.
Yeah, we can't spoil it, but he makes some certain decisions that you're just like, a lot of characters make certain decisions where I'm just shaking my head going, why?
Okay. I'd be interested to hear what you that. But I mean, so for me with this movie, I mean, amongst I've seen like what Bong Joon-ho has done, in his filmography. I haven't seen all his filmography there. I've seen Parasite, I've seen Snowpiercer, I've seen this. I do think this is weaker than those movies. I think it's like, and then you also brought up Moon as an example. I think it's weaker than Moon. I don't think it's as strong as a science fiction movie as Moon is. And then, I bring up examples like Princess Mononoke, Nausicaa Valley of the Wind, which was also something to bring up, which is very much Nausicaa Valley of the Wind, which there's a big animal kind of message here, animal rights type message as well here, that gets brought in. But and then the character, of Mickey, especially the Mickey 17 version of him is very, he's stupid. He's very stupid. Very, very kind of stupid guy and so naive and so sweethearted that he kind of just gets pulled into these things. Because the reason why he's like you said, he didn't read the paperwork there of what an expendable actually is. And he's kind of forced into it because he's running away from these mobsters who want to kill him. So he wants to join this expedition that's going off Earth, so he can, not, end up getting killed by mobsters there. And he ends up becoming expendable there, which is like a thing that nobody wants to become. And constantly throughout the movie, he's being asked the question, so what does it feel like to die? What does that feel like for you?
Yeah.
And he doesn't really have any answer to that because he's like, well, I know that I'm going to be printed out again. So it's kind of different for me than it is for like you or anybody else. And something like that. And then when there's kind of two versions of them, kind of like these separate kind of personalities of Mickey 18 and Mickey 17, there's a thing where, one, it's like when they're kind of, have a choice to die or they're about to die, it's like the fear there because it's like you're this version of you and there will never be like this another version of you almost, and that kind of gets brought up in the thing. But it has, very much Bong Joon-ho, his typical kind of things in here, politically, social commentary messages, of classism, of that kind of thing. Hunter from Retirement said, "Oh, I just watched the Electric State Netflix between this and Amy Schumer's Kind of Preg. Netflix might top my worst again in 2025. Steven Yeun is least good. I like
Steven's
Steven Yeun.
fine. Steven,
Steven
I
Yeun,
have no issues with Steven Yeun.
he plays a character called Timo in this. Basically, he's like one of those Weasley characters that you just like you want to see die so bad. Like,
Yeah, the fact that he certain elements don't happen, you're like, oh, okay.
yeah, but he's good in it. He's good at playing a Weasley fuck in it. So he's very good in that. Yeah, I ended up liking it. I liked it. And I enjoyed this. It's like I said, it's my favorite thing from Bong Joon-ho. No, but I still fall more side positive. So I give it a tune in. What about you?
At the end of the day, visually, this movie looks interesting. It's got some good performances here and there. It's got some laughable performances in other ways. It's very tongue in cheek, very clearly tongue in cheek. But the premise, I really was very interested in this premise, and the fact that they just bungled it just to kind of waste it is really disheartening and really broke my heart. I really love the director's work. I really like his work, and to see him kind of fall more heavily into the comedy, where he's always found a nice balance when he did black comedies. Parasite is where he kind of started to lean a little further in it, but he's always had comedic aspects from even his very first movies. So to see it go that much further was really disheartening. As a sci-fi premise, I very find it interesting, but all this movie did was make me go, I should probably read the novel. I might enjoy the novel more than I like this movie. It feels like there are too many cooks, as it were, too many ideas, and nobody really wanted to settle exactly on what they were trying to do with this movie. And it suffers for that. Some of the performances, like I said, are good. I think Robert Pattinson is a very talented guy. He does a good job from differentiating between the two versions of himself. Very solid job, really showing the difference between the two. Yeah, one of his voices is really annoying and kind of grating, but that's the choice he made, and I can't change that. I wish I could, but I would tell him maybe do something else. Maybe don't do that.
Maybe
But I can't.
tell him talk like Adam Sandler. Do the
Yeah,
Adam
maybe. Oh, George,
Sandler. Yeah, do a little bit of Adam Sandler. Maybe that'd have been better.
yeah, go for that. But no, at the end of the day, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen. It's not the worst sci-fi movie. Lord knows, no. So I'm gonna have to give this a low rental.
Well, shit.
It's a rental. There are better works out there, but it's not terrible. If you catch it on Tubi or you catch it on it might be good enough for the first half. You can skip the first like 20 minutes though. You're not really missing much. Just go to the montage of Mickey 17's dying and then go from there. You really don't need a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. So, low rental from Dustin. Basically, a stream it on our scale. And then Hunter said, "LOL, damn, Tubi, not even Netflix." He said,
I mean, if it's on Netflix, Netflix is willing to front the bill by all means. Tubi, Netflix, wherever you can get it on streaming.
It's a Warner Brothers movie, so probably it's got distributed by it.
All right, HBO Max, cool. There you go. Check it on streaming. There's no reason to see this in theaters. You can watch this on streaming.
Yeah, and
it'll be on Max for a while, then it'll wind up on Tubi, like everything else.
And I can just give it a plain tune in for it myself. Yeah. So that was our review for Mickey 17 in theaters now. Yeah. Box office wise, so the budget on this is pretty big. It's 118 million.
85 million, I think.
Yeah, 118 million, and box office wise is 59.8 million that it's made so far.
Oof.
So it's pretty good budget there. This is probably, I mean, look at his films. I mean, I mean, that kind of fits. I mean, budget wise, I mean, this is
probably his biggest film. Honestly.
Yeah, probably his biggest film. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Let's move on to our last review, and then we're gonna be heading out. We're gonna be rating somebody. Rating Immaturities on right now. Still playing that Bayonetta. Gooning over that Bayonetta. I still got Mini Portable on. I still got It's Uncle Lee's on right now. I'm playing Fortnite. Somebody's playing Split Fiction right now. Somebody's playing that. So got that going on. Awesome. All right. I'll queue up this next review here. Go get started on that. All right. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, so our last review of the day is going to be for a film called Novocaine. Novocaine, which is starring Jack Quaid. There, people know Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid is the new kind of it guy right now. You see him popped up in a lot of things. People know him from The Boys. We just saw him actually just recently this year. He was in a movie called Companion. He was in that film there, which I like quite a bit there. And in this movie here, he plays a character by the name of Nathan Kane there. Hence he got the nickname Novocaine as a child. And why did he get that nickname? Is because that he has a rare disorder. The disorder there where he cannot feel any pain. I think it's called they said SEPA there. Is the name of the disease. SEPA stands for congenital insensitive to pain with androsis there. So he cannot feel any pain whatsoever. Almost like a superpower, one might say there, and that's what a person says in this movie, including a love interest of his, who is played by Amber Midthunder here, a character named by the name of Sherry. So yeah, he does a little bit of meet cute with this girl at work, goes on this great date with her, falls for her really hard. Then the next day at work, there's a bank robbery that happens. The bank robbers end up taking her as a hostage, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna find my girl. I'm gonna get her back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the hero here because it's Amber Midthunder. She's cute as hell. Who wouldn't want to go risk their whole life to go fight for Amber Midthunder? People might know Amber Midthunder. She was in that Predator prequel. She was in Prey. That's kind of one of the big things she was in. She was also in the show Legion, which I was a big fan of. She was in that show. And speaking about she was in a movie that we just reviewed just earlier, Opus. She was in that movie as well. But yeah, so that's kind of the basic setup that you have of this. It's just him kind of going around trying to get his girl back from these kind of bank robbers there. And yeah, you see him kind of get involved in all types of every kind of scene, as the movie progresses, as you see in this trailer, things just kind of get worse and worse physically for him. I mean, and as an audience, I mean, you don't have to worry about him feeling pain because you feel it for him because it's like, my God, that is disgusting. You see him breaking bones. You see an arrow go through his leg. You see him get hit over the head. You see him sticking his hand in a fryer machine. Like, it's just tons of stuff kind of going on here. Where you think like, yeah, I don't even have to. He doesn't even have to worry about feeling the pain because I'm feeling it for him. Yeah, this was a movie. This movie, like I said, this came out the same week as Opus did, and it was kind of like the case we had a couple of weeks back, where it was like, I had the choice of either seeing Love Hurts or Hard Eyes, and I was thinking like, okay, if I had to, me just watching the trailers, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
if I had to bet, I'm thinking I went with Love Hurts because I'm thinking like, that probably has a better chance of being good, but I was fucking disappointed, and I saw Love Hurts, and that movie sucked.
Yeah.
And then to find out that Hard Eyes was actually the better pick.
Yeah, it was the better of the two.
And then kind of the same thing here, where it was like Novocaine with the trailer. I was like, this doesn't look all that great. And then it was this or Opus. And then I was like, I think if I had to bet, I think Opus is probably going to be maybe the better pick here. And I saw Opus first Thursday night, and I saw this today, Novocaine. And I was like, yep, Novocaine was the better pick there out of those two movies. This is a lot of fun, this movie here. I think it's got a lot of creative action sequences in it. You think about like, well, if a guy can't feel pain, what's really the stakes here for people to really get invested? I still think, he's not like invulnerable.
It just means that he's just not going to stop.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have that initial inertia of stop, which makes him extremely dangerous. It doesn't mean it's unconsequential. He still can bleed out. He still can die from injuries. Actually, that's a big danger. There's a reason why a lot of people don't get to adulthood not feeling pain, because they get a cut or something and they bleed and they don't realize it.
Yeah. And you see, like, you look up like the life expectancy for people with this disease is not very long there. And you see like how he has to kind of live his life with this disease. Like, he has to have a watch where he sets timers like every like 3 minutes. He sets his watch so he can go use the bathroom because he can't obviously feel that kind of what's going on. He doesn't eat any solid foods because he's afraid that he'll one day bite off his tongue if he eats solid foods. And he only drinks smoothies or, liquid drinks or anything like that. So yeah, you see how kind of like the way he's kind of lived his life and kind of been kind of closed off and shut off. And then even though, this movie requires you a lot to like go with the kind of premise of it
Mm,
as far as like, okay, he's risking his life for a girl that he only went with one date on.
yeah.
But you see the way he kind of lives his life, and he's very much of a shut in. He very much hasn't really connected with anybody really before because he's had this disease. And so it kind of leads to like, okay, well, yeah, okay, you get maybe why he is that invested in this kind of maybe more than a normal person would be. And yeah, just kind of interesting to see how he kind of lives his life there. But Dusk, what are your thoughts on Novocaine?
This movie had no right being as fun as it ended up being. This kind of reminded me almost like a less intense version of Crank.
I
The
thought
Crank
about that too.
movies.
Yeah.
Because there are many moments where just so much shit happens to him, and he's just like, fuck it, I don't feel any pain, and then it keeps going. There's a in the trailer, there's a torture scene where he kind of gets tortured a bit, and he just has to pretend, oh yeah, I'm supposed to feel pain here. Oh,
Yeah.
it really hurts. Really, honestly, this movie is carried by Jack Quaid, who I think does a really fun job. He's a really there's a reason why he's a fan favorite from The Boys, and his career's kind of taken off since then. He just has a natural charisma to him that I think is really good. And apparently, he's also seems to outside of movies, he's just a decent enough guy.
Mm,
Apparently, for what I've heard, but
mm, okay. But yeah, I mean, like I say, I mean, it did remind me kind of Crank of like how because if people don't know the premise of Crank, it's that he has to kind of like generate electricity there for his heart because he's got like a timer in his heart or what was it like a pacemaker or some type of
yeah,
thing.
he's basically going to die if he doesn't get an electric shock charge.
Yeah, so it's like the movie constantly throughout Crank is like trying to come up with all these different scenarios of how he kind of does it. Like at one point he's rubbing up against a woman to try to, you know what I mean, like do that. So this movie kind of has that similar kind of thing of like the action sequences is kind of like every moment it's like what more thing can we have him do that's more
Mhm.
disgusting than the last thing, and like he just kind of says fuck it, I can't feel pain, so fuck it, why not? Like let me do this and let me fight this
Yeah.
guy because like he's going up against hardened criminals here, and then the dudes that he's going up against, apparently they took a lot of kung fu classes because
Oh
they're
yeah.
doing a lot of
They're
martial
just
arts.
kicking the crap out of him.
Yeah, I was like, wow, okay, they watched a lot of Jackie Chan movies here because they doing a
Oh yeah.
lot of martial arts here
Yeah,
with
this
this.
movie gets disgusting at certain points where you're just like, oh, ooh. That trailer shot where he sticks his hand into the oil fryer is by far that one was like, oh god.
Yeah, and you see his hand afterwards. His hand looks like a Freddy Krueger's hand after he does that, and it's like disgusting. Like you saw the scene in the trailer where he punches the glass, and then he turns into Liam Neeson from the Gray there. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, there's lots of cool stuff action wise they do with this and this concept, which I thought was really inventive and really fun. And that was kind of one of the surprising things. Like I said, the trailer didn't really impress me all that much. It was like, "Oh, okay." I mean, I knew what the premise was
Mhm.
from the trailer, but it was like, okay, all right." But actually watching it, it is a lot of fun, and it does have a good heart to it, and it is really sweet as well, which I thought it's very earnest in its sweetness. There, it's kind of like it seems like what Love Hurts was attempting to be.
Yeah, that was actually supposed to bring that up. That's what surprised me the most was that it was earnest. That it kind of just laid out, this is our premise, is what we're doing. But yeah, to top off on with Real Pineapple, yeah, Crank is a good double feature movie. If you want to do Crank 1 and Crank 2, they actually are good double features. This
Yeah.
would actually fit pretty well, honestly, even if you want to sandwich it in between Crank 1 and Crank 2 or double feature with Crank movies.
Mm.
But I think I was surprised too by the earnestness in it. And it felt more like this is kind of what Love Hurts wanted to be. And it was very clear from Love Hurts that it wanted to be more R-rated, but it dubs itself down to a PG-13. And the difference is that the two main characters have actual chemistry between each other, even though they have very limited scenes.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Love Hurts, they had no chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah, zero chemistry there.
They were in the negatives. I even think that was possible.
Yeah, here, yeah, they make a good couple. You know what I mean? They're cute together. Amber Thunder and Jack Quaid, like you do really kind of get it, and that date was really good, and that was kind of very sweet there. The date they went on, and yeah. So I mean, again, like there's some things that you gotta like the stuff that comes in with the police because the police also come in here, especially towards the end of the movie. It's like, okay, you just
Oh
gotta say,
yeah.
fuck it, let's just we go on with it. Why not?
Yeah, at a certain point, just go. So we're just doing this. Okay, fine, whatever. Which is what gets to me the next action sequence.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you can go with that, then sure there, because it's a big, like, climax battle, like, at a shipyard there that
Oh,
happens, that is even again, like I said, this movie keeps going up and up and up in terms of how gross it gets with, like, how much can we hurt this guy
yeah.
and watch it, and it just yeah, it just kinda gets up there, and it has a good conclusion, I will say that as far as the action sequence goes
I
there.
was happy to see Jacob Batlin again in a better
Ye
movie this time.
yeah, I mean, he's in something better than Taro,
Yes, I was about to say that. Yeah.
yes, you have, Jacob, Batalon who comes in here, who people might know he's, Ned Leeds in the Spider-Man movies. He's that, and he kinda comes in here as the best friend to, Jack Quaid's character, because he's a character that he's at first, he's never met him in person because 'cause they're friends, they play over a video game. It's kinda like it looks like a fake ass World of Warcraft
Yeah.
type game or something, and they're playing over it.
We can't
Uh
afford Blizzard's money. We'll just make our own.
Yeah, we'll make some kinda because you notice, like, when he's playing that game, he's still at the same level.
Yes, I
Like,
noticed that. Which is
it's like
funny because I actually imagine Jack Quaid is such a nerd. He probably would have been like, "Can I like showing a level up?" And it's like, "No,
and we ain't got money for
we don't got money for
that.
that.
We
We
ain't
got
got
money for
time to
stunts."
design all that. Yeah, so, yeah, because I was like, "Wow, they're still in the same forest, like, all this time." I was like, "Okay, sure." But that's not really that important. But, yeah, he kinda comes in he's good. He's good in here. I think Jacob, Batalon comes in really good. This movie directed by Dan Burke and Robert Olson there is who directed this. They directed other things such as Significant Other, they directed Villains, they directed Stake Land 2, they directed Body. Have you seen any of those movies?
No.
Okay, I've heard of Villains. That was the movie with, Bill Skarsgård in it.
Yeah, Villains is the only one I've heard of. I
Yeah,
haven't really heard of any of the other ones.
yeah. I think I've heard of Significant Other, but I never watched. I have not watched that movie. But yeah, I mean, this was a great time in the theater to watch this. Like I said, it surprised me how much I liked it, how much I enjoyed it. The
Mhm.
action sequences are really good. I think it has a good, romance stuff kind of going on here. Jack Quaid is, very lovable. I mean, very lovable kind of guy here, Jack Quaid. And like I said, the creativeness of the action sequences is also really great. Hey, how's it going there, Rated Immaturity?
Hey, how you
Awesome to see you,
doing?
man. Thank you for the raid. Much appreciated there. I was about to raid you, but thanks for the raid there. But yeah, so I think that really kind of sells it there with this movie. So awesome time. I would give this a strong tune in. I tune in on my count there. What about you, Dust?
Yeah, this is a solid tune in. Uh, Honestly, this movie's carried mostly by Jack Quaid. The fun, creative action sequences. Does it make plot sense all the time? No, not at all. But it uses its strengths, and that strength is, hey, we have a guy who can't feel any pain. What kind of weird, crazy crap can we get him into? Let's do it all. And by God, they do. And by God, does it look like it hurts?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it just the stuff he goes through in this movie is so disgusting and so painful. It's like, my God, it's like,
Yeah.
geez. But yeah, he just keeps going, man. He just kind of keeps like he just doesn't feel any pain, just keeps going and going and going. Yeah, and like I said, it has like this good aspect of it's brutal, but it also can be funny too. Like this scene right here, he throws the
Yeah.
knife and like it just comes through his hand. And it's like, yeah, like stuff like
Oh,
that.
you made a good point. It's like a real Max Payne movie.
Oh yeah, it's going to listen. Yeah, it's like a real Max Payne movie. Yeah.
Except I would have actually totally you know what? Jack Quaid actually would actually be a solid Max Payne.
Somebody pointed that out on Twitter.
He would
Somebody
actually be a really solid Max Payne, and I actually think he could do the noir, dark styling of the first Max Payne movies.
yeah.
Max Payne, I should say, games.
I think he looks a lot like Sam Lake. I
Yeah,
think.
he really does, especially with the longer face and going into his jaw. He does really looks well. I think if they were actually serious in doing a Max Payne movie, I think he'd be a great choice.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So yeah, quite a bit. I mean, it's in theaters right now. I recommend checking it out.
Check it out.
Dust recommends checking it out. A lot of fun, a lot of great time. It's a good date movie there as well, I think.
It is. Nothing says love like willing to put yourself through living hell and pain and possibly future permanent pain. Actually, permanent maybe removal of a hand by the end of it. Honestly,
Yeah, I mean, it's man, I was like, damn, I was like, ooh, everybody in the theater
yeah,
was going, ooh, ugh.
yeah. I don't know about that. Are you willing to go through that? It's like, well, whatever.
Yeah. Brandon Drew said 100% the face, unsure about the voice though.
You could always just get a dub of a voice if you really want to.
Oh yeah,
Also, I'm sure he could do the voice work. He's got range.
yeah. I mean, doesn't this screams pretty much, yeah, Max Payne
Yeah.
right here. Like somebody even pointed out, like, yo, Max, yeah, like people have that kind of going. Oh, let me see. Not even sharing it. I bet. Something's wrong with my StreamYard today. But
Uh-oh.
yeah, like you see that, yeah, kind of going on. Yeah,
Yeah, he's got it.
he's
He's got the
definitely
look.
definitely got the look. Yeah, he's got the look. Yeah, sure. So yeah, out of all the movies we talked about, I think Novocaine I'm probably the most high on, probably.
Yeah, I think it is, honestly.
Yeah. So 2 tune-ins
Yeah.
for Novocaine. All right, people, we'll be heading out of here. Gonna be rating somebody. Let's see who's on right now. Rating Futurity. If you had anybody that you know of, please let me know. I'll go ahead and give them a rate, but I'll be looking right now. Rating Futurity said that shot with the gun close to the camera must be an intentional homage to it.
I hope it was. Jack White's enough of a nerd that I bet you he did.
Thank you,
Hey,
Hunter.
thanks.
I want you to take some notes, man. That's how you do a good stream, Hunter. Take some notes, man. This is how you actually do a great stream. All right. We're gonna be heading out here. We're gonna be rating somebody. Mini Portables on. I'm gonna be back Saturday. I'm gonna be with Chris from the Black Stoves podcast. There, I'm gonna be doing a review for Invincible season 3. Sunday. I'm also gonna be joined by Chris. Chris there airs. He's gonna be helping me review The Gorge. He's gonna be helping me review my dead friend Zoe and Another Simple Favor. Vanity Spheres is on right now. Okay, maybe I'll give him a rate. Also Monday, Sage from Rated M for Immature is gonna be joining me. Got a lot of got a lot of video game reviews, excuse me,
Mm.
that he's gonna be doing, maybe Split Fiction. He's gonna be doing that. So he's got a lot
Ooh.
of stuff that he could be doing reviews for there. Very, very awesome. So got a lot of great stuff. And we're also gonna be reacting to some trailers as well. I know that have you seen that new Silent Hill trailer that came out?
Yeah, I actually did.
That looks pretty crazy. So that looks
Yeah,
pretty
actually, the biggest problems with the other two Silent Hill movies was they got the aesthetics right. It's just that the story didn't quite measure up to that first game for the first games, but they got the aesthetics really strong.
yeah.
Those weren't
Uh,
words.
well, we
I
know.
am I am tired, and I'm
Yeah.
just not doing well today.
I think people knew what you meant. People got what you meant there. Next Friday though, Dust, hopefully you can join me again. Review Black Bag, the new Steven Soderbergh movie
I'll be
there.
there.
Looney Tunes. Hopefully you get a chance to review that
I
movie.
hope so too.
Do a review for that. So very great stuff there. But thank you everybody. Thank you, Hunter, for the
Yeah, thank
Random
you.
Pineapple podcast. Check him out there. Love what Hunter does over there. The Real Pineapple. He's got a lot of stuff coming up there. Reviews, interviews, a lot of great stuff like that. He's on YouTube. Just type in the Real Pineapple and you will find him. Rating M for Immaturity, one of the best Twitch channels around. They were just on there. Usually they stream Saturdays, Sundays there. I mean Saturdays, Tuesdays, sometimes Fridays. They were streaming this Friday there. Sage kind of felt in the mood. He played some Bayonetta, but they have a variety of different games that they play. They're usually streaming on YouTube there as well. They usually put up a lot of their streams from Twitch onto YouTube, and people want to check that out. They have a variety of different games there on their playlist. Thank you to Eptasy Joshua. Eptasy Joshua, very awesome, man. Thanks for stopping by. Eptasy Joshua, great creator, great guy there. Very awesome creator as well. Thank you to also the real Andrendino there. Very awesome. Hey, thank you for stopping by as well.
Thank you, everybody.
And thank you everybody there. Let me get out of here before I sound like Adrian Brody. All right. Yeah, I'll go ahead and raid Mini Portable. I'll go ahead. Well, actually, I'll raid Sarah Rose. She's playing Split Fiction. I want to see somebody playing that game, so I'll go ahead and give her a read. Very awesome there. So I will do that. But yeah, got a great stuff coming up, great shows, everything like that. It's gonna be we got a great stuff coming up. Awesome, awesome stuff. Right. You think maybe you'll get that Split Fiction one of these days?
I think I will, honestly. It looks like a lot of fun.
Mm, okay. Split Fiction already Game of the Year contender.
And it's early.
Yeah, it's only March here.
Hey, it's better than the last 2 years.
You didn't like
Where
Astrobot? Astrobot.
Oh, I loved Astrobot. I'm just saying it's a big drought. It's a
Okay.
big drought between when we get early contenders. It's quite rare actually to get a very first early contender of like, okay, we're actually starting to eat pretty good. We're starting to eat pretty good already.
All right. Sarah Rose playing Split Fiction. All right, everybody. Out of here. Stay tuned.